Before leashes, pet beds, tiny sweaters, food bowls, sofa privileges, and people saying, "He is basically my child," with complete seriousness, did ancient humans ever look at an animal and feel, "This one belongs with us"? At first, the question sounds cute, almost like ancient people were sitting around a fire arguing over whether the wolf puppy was allowed on the sleeping mat. But the deeper question is not cute at all. It is emotional. In a world of darkness, hunger, predators, sickness, cold nights, and sudden loss, a loyal animal beside you was not only decoration. It could be an alarm system, hunting partner, warmth source, danger detector, and maybe something even harder to measure, a living presence that made humans feel less alone. Modern pets often live inside a world of comfort, but ancient animal companions lived inside a world of survival. So, did ancient humans keep pets like we do? The answer is not exactly. They probably did not think in terms of cute accessories, Instagram captions, or spending more money on a dog's haircut than their own. But they may have felt something very familiar: attachment, trust, grief, comfort, and the strange feeling that another species had somehow entered the human circle. The first thing to understand is that the word pet is modern, soft, and a little misleading when we talk about ancient life. Today, many pets exist mostly for companionship. They sleep beside us, interrupt our work, stare at us while we eat, and occasionally behave like tiny landlords who allow us to live in their apartment. But in ancient communities, animals usually had to matter in practical ways. A dog could help track prey, guard the camp, warn people at night, clean scraps, and move with humans through dangerous landscapes. Birds, cats, small mammals, or other animals might have carried symbolic meaning, helped with pest control, or become linked to ritual, status, and identity. That does not mean ancient people were incapable of affection. It means affection and usefulness were not always separate. A dog could be useful and loved. A cat could hunt rodents and still become emotionally meaningful. An animal could be food in one culture, sacred in another, a helper in one moment, and a companion in another. Ancient humans lived closer to animals than most modern people do. They watched them move, hunt, sleep, give birth, grieve, and react to danger. So the line between tool, spirit, helper, and friend was probably blurrier than our modern categories allow. The strongest case begins with dogs, because the human-dog relationship is one of the oldest partnerships we know. Recent genetic research has identified very ancient dog remains, including a dog from Pınarbaşı in Turkey dated to around 15,800 years ago, suggesting dogs were already present among hunter-gatherer societies before agriculture. That matters because these were not people living in easy villages with extra time to invent hobbies. They were mobile groups navigating cold climates, wild animals, food uncertainty, and constant environmental pressure. A dog in that world was not simply cute. A dog could hear what humans missed, smell what humans could not, follow tracks, warn the group, help during hunts, and sleep near the edge of the camp like a living sensor system with fur. But if dogs were only tools, the story would be simpler. The reason dogs are so powerful in this topic is that the evidence does not only point to utility, it points to relationship. Humans did not merely use dogs and throw them away like broken equipment. In some ancient sites, dogs were buried with humans or given special treatment after death, suggesting they had moved from the outside of human life into something closer to the emotional center. A hunting partner can become a companion. A guard can become family. A useful animal can slowly become the first best friend. Quick check. If a Stone Age person buried a dog carefully or kept a sick puppy alive when it could not hunt, guard, or provide any obvious practical value, would you call that survival strategy, or would you call it love? If your answer is both, hit like, because that may be the most human answer possible. And if you want more videos about the ancient roots of modern emotions, subscribe here, because the past gets much more interesting when we stop pretending ancient people were emotionless survival machines. One of the most moving examples is the Bonn Oberkassel dog from Germany, a roughly 14,000-year-old dog buried with two humans. Researchers re-examining the remains argued that the young dog had suffered serious illness and likely survived for weeks because humans cared for it. That detail matters. A sick puppy is not an efficient hunting tool. It needs food, water, cleaning, patience, and protection. If people kept it alive despite that burden, something more than usefulness may have been involved. Archaeology cannot show us the exact feeling in someone's chest, but it can show behavior. And care is behavior. Burial is behavior. The decision to keep an animal close after death is behavior. This is where the social psychology becomes powerful. Humans attach not only to those who help them survive, but also to those who share fear, warmth, routine, and presence over time. A dog that slept near the fire, followed the group, and looked back when called may have become part of the emotional architecture of the camp. Cats are the more complicated part of the story, because cats probably did not enter human life the same way dogs did. Dogs may have joined humans as hunting partners, guards, and social companions. Cats seem to have taken a more cat-like route, which is to say they probably moved in near humans and acted like the whole arrangement was their idea. As humans began storing grain, stored grain attracted rodents, and rodents attracted wildcats. From the cat's perspective, human settlements were basically restaurants with terrible architecture. From the human perspective, a small predator that killed pests without needing much instruction was extremely useful. But usefulness can become attachment. A famous 9,500-year-old burial in Cyprus placed a cat near a human, in a context that suggests a special relationship between the two. Researchers have described this as early evidence of cat taming or close human-cat association, though the exact story of cat domestication remains more debated than the story of dogs. That caution matters. Ancient cats may not have been pets in the modern sense. They may have been semi-wild partners, pest controllers, ritual animals, or strange little neighbors who slowly became impossible to remove. In other words, dogs may have entered the human circle by loyalty, cats may have entered by opportunity, but both eventually found a way to stay. The deeper question is why humans bond with animals at all. Part of the answer is practical. Animals helped with hunting, warning, warmth, pest control, and protection, but practicality does not explain the whole emotional force. Humans are social mammals, and our brains are built to read faces, movement, intention, closeness, and response. When an animal follows you, watches you, sleeps near you, reacts to your fear, or returns to you again and again, the brain does not experience that as a neutral object. It experiences relationship. A dog's gaze, a cat's presence, the warmth of a body nearby, the rhythm of feeding and being followed, the comfort of touching fur, these things can become emotional signals. And maybe that mattered even more in ancient life. When the night was dark and the world outside the fire was uncertain, another breathing creature beside you could make the human nervous system feel slightly less alone. That is why pets are not only about cuteness, they are about co-regulation, routine, belonging, and the feeling of being accompanied. A modern pet may not help you hunt a gazelle, but it may still do something ancient. It sits beside the human nervous system and tells it, without words, you are not completely by yourself. So, did ancient humans keep pets like we do? Not exactly. Their animal relationships were probably rougher, more practical, more dangerous, and more mixed with survival than the modern image of a dog in a sweater or a cat judging you from a sofa. But the emotional root may be much older than modern comfort. Before pet stores, before collars, before veterinary clinics, before people used baby voices on animals and then pretended they did not, humans were already living beside other species in ways that shaped safety, work, ritual, grief, and belonging. A dog could be a hunter, guard, warning system, and companion. A cat could be a pest controller, symbol, semi-wild neighbor, and eventually something close enough to bury near a human. Maybe the modern pet is not a new invention as much as a softened version of an ancient relationship. We removed much of the danger, added cushions, leashes, canned food, and embarrassing nicknames, but the old emotional pattern is still there. When you touch a dog's head, watch a cat sleep beside you, or feel calmer because an animal is in the room, you may be touching a relationship older than cities, money, and civilization. If this changed how you see ancient pets, comment one word you associate with them: friend, hunter, guardian, spirit, family, or something else.